I'm so glad I decided not to make this a fitness channel because I don't think I'd have this. So 100,000 subscribers, I got the official YouTube play button thing. And yes, I really did almost make this a fitness channel. Basically, this channel started in October of 2020, and I decided I wanted to start a YouTube channel. I was also, I was teaching, and suddenly I'd have to start teaching online primarily. And so I decided, you know what, I'm gonna get a green screen, I'm gonna get a nice camera. I already had some decent microphones from like some music recording stuff that I did in the past. Anyway, I was just like, okay, if I'm going to have to do this online, I'm gonna try to do it professionally, I'm gonna do a good job, and you know what, I'd already been interested in doing some sort of YouTube content, and I'm buying this equipment, might as well use it for that too. And so I was like, but what do I wanna do videos about? Honestly, I considered music, but while I enjoy playing music, I don't think I'm good enough to like make it big on YouTube. Not that I really thought my channel would make it big, but really it was more just like, I don't know how frequently I could put out new music, that kind of a thing. I considered I was wanting to get back into powerlifting. I was thinking, okay, with the whole pandemic thing happening, I went ahead and canceled my gym membership, set up a whole like home squat rack, bench, everything like that. And I was like, I'm gonna get into powerlifting, and maybe once all of this stuff is over and there's powerlifting meets again, I'm gonna see if I can compete in that. So I actually considered this channel being a powerlifting vlog. I also considered it being about gaming, which was my main hobbies are music, gaming, lifting. And so then we've got, the gaming channels. I'm just like, I don't know how I break into this. And, I'd streamed a little bit in the past, but it was just like, I think the amount of time commitment that requires is just not something I can do with a family and a full-time job, all of that. So I was interested in upgrading my PC at the time. I was into tech stuff, and honestly, nobody that I'm super close friends with, my wife, like they don't, they're nice, but they don't necessarily want to hear me talk about the fine points on which video card I might want to upgrade to when I was getting my ultra-wide monitor, that kind of a thing. Speaking of which, guys, I went ahead and got the Alienware, the FreeSync version. What is it? The A whatever, the QD OLED. It's got monitor names, as a side note. Way too much like just letters and numbers and stuff. But anyway, I've been trying that out recently. That was a birthday gift to myself a week or two ago, and yes. Anyway, I might need to do a video in the future on my thoughts on the going 4K OLED screen versus going the ultra-wide QD OLED route. Pros and cons there. I love them both. Have been gaming a little bit more on the ultra-wide lately. But anyway, all of this stuff, being able to have this level of stuff, is really a cool byproduct of this channel. But this is all a huge thank you to you guys, my viewers. Like I said, I'm very happy I decided to go the tech route because then that let me, I didn't have all the graphics cards. I had an RTX 2070, I had an ultra-wide monitor. I think Cyberpunk was coming out around that time. I was kind of interested in the system requirements on that. That had some of like the ray tracing and one of the first good DLSS 2 implementations, that kind of stuff. But I didn't have a lot of hardware I could actually test. So a lot of what this channel actually was me just reading tech news like I always did, and then I just do a video on a green screen about whatever interested me that day or whatever game I was playing, testing out, that kind of stuff. It was really just an outlet for me to talk about stuff I was super nerdy interested in that I didn't know a lot of other people who were super interested in listening to. And then I found you guys, which is awesome. Apparently now there's over 100,000 of you who are actually interested in listening to me talk about this stuff, which is unbelievable. And, I put up on my community page a post when I hit the 100,000 subscribers, because this actually happened over a month ago. I guess it takes a while to get the little plaque thing, because you have to wait for them to even send you an email about it. Then you fill that out, and then they need to make it and ship it and all of that. So I'm only just now getting it. But anyway, when I actually passed the 100,000 subscribers, I said, do we want to do like a Q&A for this kind of a thing? So I did, and I said, upvote your favorite comments. So let's read a few of these comments, and I'll just talk to you guys about it. Thought we'd pop into the green screen format for the questions. All right, this was the post a month ago where I first got that, had my Santa hat, all of that. Anyway, first question with a lot of upvotes here. We've got congratulations. Well, thank you. I'd love to see a video of you explaining your time management strategies. Being a teacher, a YouTuber, and a husband at the same time is admirable. Well, the trick is you just never sleep. Well, actually, okay, well, that's only partially true. I still do get sleep. Now, currently, it's not even 6 a.m. yet, and I do need to end this video soon to get my kids ready for school, except it's actually snowing this morning. I think we might get a snow day, so that would be cool. But anyway, yeah, you definitely have to find the time for certain things. The biggest change in my schedule has been how early I get up in the morning. My news videos, I film and, well, I was going to say edit, but I don't edit. That's another time saver on the news videos. But I film, upload, make the thumbnail, do the timestamps, all of that. All in one take with no script, no editing, in the morning before I start getting my kids up for school in the morning. Now, to do that, I also need to do the research for the news videos throughout the day. But here's the thing, guys. I have always read the tech news and looked at tech subreddits and all of that. That's just always been a part of my life. You know, a lot of people, when they're just scrolling the internet, they're reading things they're interested in. For me, it's always been this. So that reading of it hasn't really changed too much. I definitely make sure I'm staying more on top of it, make sure I don't miss anything. But that was something I was already doing. Now I'm just saving those in browser tabs, which are basically my script. So I don't write a script, I just have browser tabs that I kind of organize by topic. I try to think about the through line of how it makes sense to talk about the video. But, I just save browser tabs for a few days until there seems to be enough to make a reasonably interesting video with enough topics, film that quickly, and get that out the door. And that's how this channel started, was mostly with those unscripted, unedited news videos. Those don't take a massive amount of my time, but I do have to get up a little extra early in the morning, like I said. Now, when I started getting into more of the benchmarking, and not just doing a live, like some of my benchmarks when the game first comes out are literally just, again, unscripted without little to no editing, where I just play the game, test things out, talk about it. But, as the channel's become more successful and I've got more hardware, I've got a lot more GPUs to test, and I've started doing those massive head-to-head comparison videos where I do a dozen games with a dozen settings in the game and resolutions and, DLSS, FSR, on, off, various settings, ray tracing at various settings, all of that. Those do take a massive amount of time. But the trick on those is, if I'm going to benchmark some GPUs, I'm going to do a bunch all at once, and I'll probably either do that over a weekend or preferably, like my recent set of videos I've been doing, I benchmarked a whole bunch of high-end GPUs when I got the 4070 Ti review sample over Christmas break. And I benchmarked all the GPUs at the same time, so they're all on their, current drivers at that time. They're all on the same update version of the games and Windows and all of that, and drivers, all of that. And then I save all of it. The way I do that is I save the video file of it, and then I don't need to produce all of the head-to-head videos at that time. So a lot of times over the weekends, when my kids, I don't know if I can actually show you because my camera where it's set up now, I don't think I can turn it, but my setup here with my PC is in like a basement, like family room, TV room, media room, maybe you'd call it, where there's a couch right over there, there's a TV right there. And so my kids will come down, play in here, have snacks. I'll hang out with them while I'm, also kind of throwing together the side-by-side edits, that kind of thing. But that's why you'll probably only get, one of those huge side-by-side edited videos per week, because it probably takes some time on the weekend to get caught up on those usually. But that's the other huge thing about how do you manage being a husband and a father, all of that. Did this one even mention the father thing? I don't know. But yeah, so the thing is again, I get up in the morning before my kids do, and I stay up later than they do, and some of that time is time working on the channel. And then also, one thing that's a bit of a cheat is I have like a 5-minute commute to work. I live incredibly close to my school that I teach at, so that saves a big amount of time. And that means that I get home from work before my kids do. So that gives me another, 45 minutes to an hour when I get home that I can work more on the channel.
How do I still do the powerlifting? Well, I have a home gym set up that I bought during the whole, disaster of 2020 and all that. And that's just another room right there, down in the basement. So what I'll do is, you can start a benchmark run, do a set of bench press, pop back over, during load screens. Same thing with editing and researching. A lot of times, organizing the browser tabs for my news videos or editing some of the side-by-side stuff, that kind of thing. I can work on that for 5 minutes, do a set of weights, come back. So there's a lot of that. And then also, again, just multitasking. A lot of times kids are happy to participate in whatever you're doing. They're interested in seeing what we do. Like, they'll help me with the screwdriver changing the graphics cards in the computer when I'm benchmarking. They'll watch the benchmark runs and we'll talk about what I'm looking for. Like, kids are just genuinely interested in what you're doing. But please don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that all I do with my kids is work on the channel. I'm just saying that some of that can be an overlap. But in general, I do try to lock out a block of time from when they get home from school until I'm getting them to bed, where that's just family time, right? So the most of the time that I'm working on the channel is, before they wake up in the morning, after they go to sleep, and before they get home from school. So that's the vast majority of that. And like I said, they get home, but they get my attention. So, and then there's the work day while they're at school. That's when I do my teaching at school. So that's how I manage a lot of that. But what you'll probably notice there is that doesn't leave a huge amount of time for other hobbies. See, lots of people spend a huge amount of time, watching TV or watching movies or just scrolling mindlessly through various social media and websites and things like that. If I'm scrolling stuff on my phone, it's probably PC hardware websites or subreddits. If I'm watching a TV show, let's talk about the husband thing. This has always been the case, but I don't actually watch much TV or movies just on my own. If I have my own free time, it's just me by myself, and I'm not working on something, I'm probably playing video games. So really it's more if my wife has a show that that she's interested in watching with me, or a movie, that's the kind of combo time on that. So basically, one huge thing is I don't really watch TV unless it's specifically like time spent with my wife watching TV, something like that, right? So it's, again, kind of a multitask, that sort of thing. Now, I do still play games, but I will say I play a lot less games than I did before I started the channel, because basically the channel is mostly my hobby time. Most people, like I said, spend a huge amount of time doing some sort of hobby. For me, the main hobby now is running this channel. And the good news is that still is related to playing games. So I can still play games and, tell myself it's research on how it's performing. Make sure I've got the stat counter in the screen. Anyway, I think that's enough on that. Oh my, I went on for like 8 minutes about that. Well, anyway, let's see. You made this happy. Do a great job explaining little details without making it boring. I can't imagine it will stop anytime soon. Yeah, I'm not planning on stopping anytime soon. That's not really a Q&A, but congrats, Daniel. My question is, since you became popular on YouTube, has this impacted you at school? More specifically, do any of your students watch your channel? Yes. So my students have definitely found my channel. Really, as soon as one kid finds it, the info spreads. So yeah, it is by no means a secret. There certainly are students who don't know about it, but I would say the majority of my students by this point are aware of the YouTube channel. And I think it has helped. Honestly, a huge part of teaching is building a good connection with the students. And so if you actually ask high school kids these days, or even middle school or younger kids, I teach high school, but a lot of kids nowadays, if you ask what would your dream job be, a lot of times it's YouTube or streaming or Twitch streaming. Like for a lot of kids, that's kind of the dream career. And so being able to actually talk to them about that, some of them will actually ask me, they're interested in starting a YouTube channel and actually ask me about that. But either way, a lot of them just find it very interesting. They think it's pretty cool. So that can be a way to build a connection with kids who maybe don't care that much about math, that sort of thing. And yes, some kids will ask me about PC building advice. Even some of the other teachers will ask me about that. Anyway, all sorts of that kind of stuff. So yeah, I think overall it's been a good thing. Kids find it interesting, and it's a good way to build a connection. But also, they're usually pretty interested when they first hear about it, but then it just sort of fades into the background. They are interested in seeing the 100K silver play button thing. But I told them I'm not sure I want to bring that in because, well, the vast majority of my students are excellent people. I'm a little worried if that got left in the classroom unattended, if it would still be there. Anyway, I don't know. Okay, what kind of games do you play in your free time more often or regularly? So this has been another change. So before I started the YouTube channel, I spent a lot of my gaming was actually more competitive shooters. One thing I've just in general, I've always liked, I think I'm drawn to, is where there's a measurable progress number of some kind. So in other words, I like skill-based ranking systems where it's not just you play the game more and your number goes up, but like you actually are better at the game and your number goes up. And so, but I mean, I think that's also what I'm drawn to with like powerlifting, for example, where if you don't know about that, you're trying to compete for a 1 rep max, right? Like if I'm going to just bench once, what's the most possible weight I could do on that, or squat or deadlift? And so I enjoy having that measurable progress number, right? That goes up over time. So throughout my life, I've been very drawn to skill-based matchmaking games, things like that. And I will say that that's one thing that has changed because I like to be good at those things, and that takes time. And now that I spend more time on the YouTube channel, I just can't stay competitive at that type of thing. Not that I still don't every now and then play one, but it's really a whole different thing than when you're trying to grind the ranking system, that kind of thing. And not just shooters. I mean, I was fairly highly ranked at Hearthstone for a while when that game first came out, competing in the legend ranks and all that. StarCraft 2, I was never like pro level, don't get me wrong, but like I was, the top few percent kind of a thing, not top 0.1% where you'd go pro but whatever. Anyway, I liked the skill-based, matchmaking stuff. That's, but I've also always played single player games, and those are the ones that have more stuck around for me. So a lot more single player stuff, obviously Elden Ring, but I play most of the big games that come out, guys. A lot of the games you see me test on the channel are also games that I actually play and beat and finish. Currently I'm playing the Dead Space remake. I finished Callisto Protocol recently. I've been benchmarking Hogwarts Legacy. It also seems pretty fun despite some of the performance issues. On my Steam Deck, I've been playing Persona 5 Royal. One thing about having, not having a lot of time to play and having kids that I really like about the Steam Deck is, so games like Persona 5 Royal, you can't just save at any time. You have to be at certain locations to save the game, which is a huge problem if I don't have a lot of time to play and I'm playing on a PC. But on the Steam Deck, you can just turn it off, but it really just goes to sleep and you can pop it back. So, a lot of times I'm playing that on my lunch break, that kind of a thing. Steam Deck's in my backpack, that sort of thing. Honestly, just most big AAA games I at least try out, and many of them I stick with and finish. Elden Ring was probably my favorite game recently. Also Hades. Hades was really good. I know that didn't come out as recently, but I started playing it more recently. Anyway, lost my place on where we were here. But anyway, I hard to think through everything I play. I do still manage to play quite a few games despite most of my time. But honestly, if you just play like 30 or 40 minutes a day, but you get that in, on a lot of days. And then on the weekends, sometimes my kids will go visit their grandma, something like that. There might be a gaming binge happening, Anyway. All right, Not Surprised Man, you're one of the most honest guys covering this topic on the platform. Well, thank you. What are your future plans for the channel? Will you keep the news benchmarking format, or will you look for other forms of videos more in the range of entertainment as opposed to strictly informative? Are you not entertained? Sorry. No, I'm definitely more interested in I want to provide value to you as, news and benchmarks, that kind of a thing, rather than just trying to be funny or something like that. Occasionally I might accidentally be funny as well, and there was even a few, songs and things I've done, whatever. Honestly, what the channel is mostly about is whatever PC gaming stuff I'm interested in, although I've noticed with the YouTube algorithm, it helps to like double down on a really narrow niche. So I really try to focus in on GPUs and then just gaming PC hardware in general, and again, news and benchmarks. So that's definitely going to be the main stuff. But as far as like, I don't know how to put it. Like, I do other, video topics as they pop into my head. But like the routine will probably be at least a couple news videos a week, and then as many benchmarks and tests and whatnot as I have time to get in. When big games release, I like to test them out, that kind of a thing. If you grow even more, do you plan to change your formula? So that's kind of similar to the previous question. But then, would you consider making YouTube a parallel career? If you growing at the same rate, do you think gonna need an editor? All that kind of stuff. Okay, so I think part of that is getting into the future of the channel. That seems to be something people are interested in. A parallel career. So, parallel career. Yes, full-time YouTube. I've thought about that, and currently my thought is no. Honestly, like I said, I like this to be a fun hobby that I'm interested in, and then if it actually brings in income as well as really good gaming hardware that I'd never buy, just like I would not have a 4090 if I was just being a teacher, guys. Just not worth it. But if I can make that money back by testing it out on the channel, now it's worth it, right? So, but I think I'd be stressed out if I was trying to do this full time, because suddenly it wouldn't be like make videos that I'm interested in. It would be like, I better force out a video and make sure I have a sponsor, to put food on the table. And that's another thing is, guys, one thing I really like not doing this full time is, sponsors, because I turn down so many sponsors. Guys, I could make so much more money on this channel, but I turn down so many sponsors because most of the sponsor offers I get are just not things that I want to advertise. A lot of that's like the gray market CD keys and things like that. I could probably have a sponsor segment every single video if I accepted the CD key selling sites and things like that. But there's certain things like that I just don't. I'm not criticizing you if you use those. I'm just saying like that's not something I necessarily want to advertise on the channel for a variety of reasons. We don't need to get into that. Anyway, long story short, I think at least for the reasonable future, I prefer this being a hobby, so that any success it's having financially is just a like, wow, that's awesome, pay off my mortgage sooner, something like that, rather than I'm stressing out because the graphics card industry is kind of boring right now, so people aren't watching my videos and now my kids can't eat. Okay. Huge thanks to channel members though, like clicking the join button down at the bottom. I'm not good enough about thanking you guys. But like that steadier income stream that comes from those memberships, that's similar to Patreon. I haven't set up a Patreon. The join button down there is kind of the YouTube's integrated version of that, with the like badge icons that you get and some early access to some of my videos. There's a few exclusives. I should probably do more members content, but again, it's a time thing. I'll try to work on that. We'll try to get more members content out. But anyway, if that reached a point where like there was this incredibly steady income stream off of that's less related to sponsors and just the YouTube algorithm and that kind of a thing, then I'm not saying I would never consider it being a full-time thing. But I think that we're a long ways off from that, and I'm still not sure I'd ever do that, because honestly, I went into teaching because I actually like teaching. And there's a lot of the social aspect of that I like. And if I was just doing YouTube all the time, I think just being in my basement by myself all day from a mental health perspective might not be the greatest. And then I think we also had the question of like, do you think I'd get an editor or anything like that? Honestly, guys, right now, like I said, this is my hobby. Like, I like making the videos and doing all that myself. It's what I do for fun. So currently not looking to expand to other people helping out, any of that. Okay, so this kind of like, is it changing teaching, that kind of a thing? There's similar things about like you want to grab people's attention, speak dynamically, that kind of a thing. And like I said, building a relationship with the students, I think they like the fact that I do the YouTube and like they'll talk to me about that kind of thing. But there hasn't been any major changes to my teaching, anything like that. Do students know about the channel? Looks like a lot of these balancing content creation with being a math teacher, all that kind of a thing. Yeah, how do you balance an educator with being that? Like, again, it's a huge amount of it's a time efficiency thing. There's no way I would have had time to do this when I first started teaching because I had to take a lot of work home with me. This is my 11th year teaching, so I found a lot of ways to optimize my time management with teaching to where I don't need to take a lot home with me. A lot of teachers are taking way too much work home with them after school. I think a lot of teachers grade very inefficiently. They spend more time on grading than the payoff that you get from it. So I'm not saying I don't grade, but I've set up systems that are like, there's motivation for kids to do the assignments, and they get a lot of feedback from me directly during class. But like, I don't need to bury myself in grading of stuff at home. Anyway, that's kind of beside the point. But like, how should I put this? Same thing I do on the YouTube channel, where I don't edit a lot of videos, I don't script things, all of that. In a lot of things in life, there's like, you can put in, 50% of the time to get 95% of the results. And getting that last 5% of the results could double your time input, and then you just burn yourself out, right? I do that in teaching and my YouTube videos, right? Like, I could edit every single video, but then honestly, I'd put out fewer videos or have to quit teaching, right? So anyway, that's just the thing. You have to find, there's an efficiency curve, right? There's an efficiency curve on time you input versus the output results, and there's a point of diminishing returns, and you need to find that. But it takes time to find that in everything that you do, and find a good work-life balance. Anyway, you know what? I'm looking at the time, and I think I need to get my kids up for school here soon. So I expected more like actual like PC hardware related questions, but anyway. So yeah. Anyway, thank you for all the comments. Thank you for all the support. Thank you for channel members and 100,000 subscribers. We're actually closing in on like almost 109,000 today, this morning when I checked. I'm going to go see if there was enough snow to get the day off of school. I hope all of you have an excellent day.